Hi there and welcome to our session on rent arrears. I'm here today with Pamela, who in our Glasgow office deals with all the lease admin and issuing notices to tenants who might be in arrears or landlords who might want repossession of the property for whatever reason. So today we're going to chat about rent arrears and try not to get too frustrated when we talk about them. We have literally heard, I think, every excuse in the book about rent arrears, and I get really frustrated because I think people think that we're genuinely going to believe them or that we haven't heard it before. I am a cynic now, unfortunately.
Trust no one.
It does become a bit like that, and some of the excuses that we hear are quite honestly just a bit ridiculous. So probably the most common one we get now is identity fraud. Awful lot of people having their identity stolen, and seems to happen an awful lot when they're on holiday.
That's it. No internet, no.
Exactly, it's
no nothing.
strange. And the other common rental arrears excuse is banking errors. A lot of them. A lot of banking errors where money has left their account but just not arrived in our account, and they just can't work out where
how that happened.
And I also find that particularly strange when, you know, it's a big amount of money, 600 quid, and nobody seems that bothered about it. I mean, if I lost £600 out of my bank account, I would be right onto that bank. And then we get other really sad ones where people say that they are very ill, and we find out that's simply just not true, or that somebody's died. And then probably the worst one we've had was when somebody faked his own death. And then one of the Fine Home team members saw them in Aldi, live and kicking. So we are a bit cynical. We're laughing just now, but it's really serious, and particularly for landlords, because landlords, contrary to what a lot of people think, they are not. They're not in a position where if they were to fall into a rent arrears, they're still comfortable. You know, a lot of landlords are relying on that rental income to pay mortgages, and they really struggle when they're in rent arrears. So one of our jobs as an agent is to try to one, obviously chasing rent arrears, and two, advising landlords on what the best course of action might be for them, either to recover payment or to recover possession of their property. Obviously, I just want to say just now that there are cases where tenants are genuinely in a position where they can't pay their rent, and we find that these types of tenants, they communicate, don't they? They are happy to pick up the phone. They want to talk about a payment plan. They want to tell you about what's happened in their life that has made them unable to pay their rent. And in those cases, most landlords are really reasonable, and they're happy to sort out a payment plan. And they're happy to talk about it and try and get back on an even keel. So say we're in this position, rent arrears, and we haven't got any communication from the tenant, or the tenant is telling us a load of rubbish. I think it would be useful, Pamela, to chat a wee bit about notice periods and how that works.
So we've obviously got the two different leases now in Scotland, the short assured tenancy and the PRT. Depending on where we're at with the short assured tenancy, then we can serve the tenant notice to leave, which would be, if they were in rent arrears 2.5 months, then we could serve them the 14-day notice to get them out. And with the PRT, then as long as you're in rent arrears for 3 consecutive months, it doesn't need to be a full month's rent. It can
just need to be a 5 or short.
Just needs to be, not a full month, full rent. Then we can serve 28 days notice.
Okay, so that's the type of notice that we can serve on the tenant, and once that period has passed, so say the notice has been served, we're 14 days on, what happens then? What can we do then?
So, hopefully we've been in discussion with the tenant, find out that they are leaving. If not, we would maybe do a visit, check that they're not there, then we would need to apply to the First Tier Tribunal for an eviction or a possession order.
And what's the First Tier Tribunal?
They've taken over now from the small courts which we used previously.
Okay. So the First Tier Tribunal is a specialist housing court, and they have taken over all housing cases that might come, and it's actually been probably pretty good. it definitely saves us time.
Yeah.
And the court, I guess one thing that's just a small thing, but at the sheriff court you used to have to just sit and wait for your case to be heard. So you might be at the sheriff court all day. Whereas at the FTT you get a case management discussion and it's at a specific time, so you know when it's going to be heard.
Yeah.
And it is free. It's free for landlords to use. The process isn't necessarily free, but the actual case management hearing is free, so it's free to apply. So we've applied to the FTT, and you've got your case management hearing.
Yep.
And then what would happen from there? What does everybody go to that hearing?
So
Can you represent yourself, or
you can? Yeah, so you can go yourself, or you can ask your agent, or get someone to represent you. But you go, there'll be someone there waiting to meet you, and then the tenant's invited along. Most often not, they don't attend, but they are welcome to go, put their points forward.
And then the legal representative will make a decision there and then?
Yeah, normally just there and then.
Okay.
The tenant, but after the case management discussion, though, if the tenant doesn't attend, they do have 30 days to appeal the decision.
Okay.
And
then that 30 days comes and goes. Let's say we're in the worst case scenario, tenant is still living in the property, they've not gone after those 30 days, they're still there, they're still not paying any rent. And actually maybe we should talk quickly about the fact that there should be two parts to this process. There's the possession order and the payment order, and these are completely separate. And particularly if you are a landlord who's inexperienced and you don't have an agent and you're planning on representing yourself, the paperwork is absolutely crucial. The legal members, they like everything done.
They need everything.
There's a lot of paperwork that you have to provide, so don't think that you're going into this just with a piece of paper saying can you go and giving them their 14 days. There's a real process that you need to follow. There's 101 bits of paper that you need to supply before you even got to the case management discussion. But so there's two aspects to this: the possession order and the payment order, and they need to be dealt with separately. And even at the first year tribunal, they don't normally hear them together, do they?
No, and I think maybe you made the application together, but it's normally you're trying to get possession first and then go back and try and recover the
payment order.
The funds.
Because it's important to remember that at the possession order, the tenant is obviously accruing owed rent up to the point that they have up until the point that they've left that property. So it's hard to know what the payment order you're looking for is until you know the date that tenant has vacated. What we quite often do actually is apply for a payment order for a certain amount, and then we'll go back and apply for another payment order once we know the exact amount that's due. So once we've applied for all these possession orders, gone to the first year tribunal, what are the chances of, say we got possession, what are the chances of us recovering these funds for the landlord?
It really depends on the individual and their circumstances. You know, once you've got possession of property, you've applied for your payment order, the tenant has then 14 days to make payment in full. If not, then you would need to go down the route of bank arrestments, wages arrestments.
And the final straw is bankruptcy, so you can apply for bankruptcy on that tenant. But it's important to note that you've got to be able to serve that not the payment order, but the charge for payment. Needs to be served on the
individual. So
but there is a process. There is a process, and you can recover the money. And you know, if you want to take it all the way, then you know you can do that. It's just quite time consuming.
Yeah, quite painful.
Exactly. But we know what we're doing, so there is a process that needs to be followed. But my advice would definitely be make sure that your paperwork is in order. It's absolutely crucial because it will just get thrown out, and they'll tell you to go back and relook at your paperwork again, which delays the whole process because you have to wait for court dates and all this sort of stuff. But rent arrears, that's a little bit about how we deal with rent arrears here, and hopefully give you some food for thought. Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you.